Today I got a special treat for you. Book 48, BEL and the Dragon. This is book 48 of the complete Ethiopian English Bible translation. And this title caught my attention, so let's read it. And King Astyages, perhaps is how you say that, Astyages was gathered to his fathers, and Cyrus of Persia received his kingdom. And Daniel, can you read that? And Daniel conversed with the king and was honored above all his friends. Now the Babylonians had an idol called BEL, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour, and 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. They were just giving up all their food and wine to this idol. And the king worshipped it, and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his own God. And the king said unto him, Why dost not thou worship BEL? Who answered and said, Because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living God, who hath created the heaven and the earth, and hath sovereignty over all flesh. And said the king unto him, Thinkest thou that BEL is not a living God? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? Then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within, and brass without, and did never eat or drink anything. So the king was wroth, and called for his priests, and said unto them, If ye tell me not who this is that devoured these expenses, ye shall die. But if ye can verify to me that BEL devoured them, then Daniel shall die. For he hath spoken blasphemy against BEL. And Daniel said unto the king, Let it be according to thy word. Now the priests of BEL were 70. I'm not sure, I think that means 310. Beside their wives and children. Anyways, that's quite a few, right? And the king, that might be 30 perhaps? And the king went with Daniel into the temple of BEL. And so BEL's priest said, Lo, we go out. But thou, O king, sit on the seat, keep an eye on the meat, and make sure nobody drinks the wine. That's not what it says. But anyways, it says, Make ready the wine, and shut the door fast, and seal it with thine own signet. I guess that's a special royal key or whatever. And so tomorrow, when thou cometh in, if thou findest that BEL hath eaten up all, we will suffer death. Hath not eaten all, we shall suffer death. Or else Daniel, who spoke, is faulty against us. And they little regarded it, for under the table they had made a private entrance into the table. Are you hearing this? Whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wow. So then they were gone forth, and the king set meats before BEL, the statue. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and they strewed throughout all the temple in the presence of the king. Those ashes, right? Get it? So when they went out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet, and so departed, now in the right came the priests with their wives and children, and as they were wont to do, and did eat and drink up all in the morning. Bedtime. The king arose, and Daniel with him. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? And he says, Yeah, king, they're whole. They be whole. And as soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, Great art thou, O BEL, and with thee is no deceit at all. Then laughed Daniel and held king that he should not go in, and said, Behold, now the pavement, and mark well, whose footsteps are these? And the king said, I see the footsteps of men, priests with their wives and children. Women and children. And the king was angry. He took all the priests, their wives, and their children, and showed them the private doors, and they came in and consumed all the things, and were upon the table. Therefore the king slew them, and delivered BEL, into Daniel's power, who destroyed him in his temple. And in that same place there was a great dragon, and they of Babylon worshipped. And the king said unto Daniel, Wilt thou also say, This is no living God, therefore worship him? Then he said, Daniel unto the king, I will worship the Lord my God, for he is a living God. But give me leave, O king, and I shall slay this dragon without sword or staff. And the king said, I give thee leave. Then Daniel took pitch and fat and hair, and did seethe them together like a sticky bomb, made lumps thereof. This he put in the dragon's mouth, and so the dragon burst in sunder. And Daniel said, Lo, these are the gods ye worship. When they of Babylon heard that, they took great indignation, and conspired against the king, saying, The king is become a Jew, and he hath destroyed BEL, and hath slain the dragon, and put the priest to death. And so they came to the king, and said, Give us Daniel. Deliver us, Daniel, or else we will destroy thee in thine house. Oh, no, you didn't. Anyways, now when the king saw that they pressed him sore, being constrained, he delivered Daniel unto them, who cast him into the lion's den. We know this story, don't we? Where he was 6 days, not just overnight. He was in the lion's den for 6 days, y'all. 6 days, and in the den there were 7 lions, and they had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, which were then not given to them, so in intent they might devour Daniel. Now there was in Jewry a prophet called Habakkuk, I recognize that name, but under a different spelling, who had made pottage and had broken bread in a bowl, and was going into the field for to bring it to the reapers. But an angel of the Lord said unto Habakkuk, Go, carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon, and unto Daniel, who is in the lion's den. And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where this den is. And the angel of the Lord took him by the crown, and bare him by the hair of his head. He grabbed him up by his hair, and through the vehemency of his spirit, set him in Babylon. He grabbed him up by his hair, through the vehemency of his spirit, whatever that means, and set him in Babylon over the den. And Habakkuk cried, saying, Oh, Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which God has sent thee. The first Grubhub, y'all. Anyways, DoorDash, right to the lion's den. God is good. Daniel said, Thou hast remembered me. O God, neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. So Daniel arose and did eat, and the angel of the Lord set Habakkuk back in his own place again immediately. Upon the 7th day, the king went to bewail David, to yell at him, I guess. And when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was just chilling there. Daniel was sitting. Then cried the king in a loud voice, saying, Great are the God of Daniel, and there is none other beside thee. And he drew him out and said, Look at this, everybody. There were the cause of his destruction, and then cast those who were the cause of Daniel's destruction into the den, that they were devoured in a moment before his face. In your face! Okay, not like that, but anyways, did you catch those details? In the lion's den, where he was 6 days, and there were 7 lions. And the angel of the Lord took Habakkuk by the crown borne by the hair, and through the vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon over the den. Don't remember those details, do you?